welcome to the first episode of Supporting His, Fulfilling Yours. I wanted the first episode to be with my husband, who is right here next to me, and just to kind of show you guys where this idea came from in terms of the name of Supporting His, Fulfilling Yours, and then also share our journey into how we've gotten where we are today. So, my first guest on my podcast is my husband, Jordan McLaughlin. Besides my husband, he is also a point guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, we currently live here in Minnesota, and we're recording from our home.
Yep. Thank you for having me, babe.
Okay, babe. First, let's share our story of how we met. And
Your version or my version?
We'll let you do your version, and I'll let them know what parts are wrong.
Okay, so it started our second year of college at USC. We had followed each other on social media.
Who followed who first?
I followed you.
Okay.
And then you were a spirit leader at USC. I was obviously on the basketball team. And the Swim with Mike charity event at USC, which is kind of a big deal there, asked some of the basketball players to help out at the wheelchair basketball event. Mm-hmm. I volunteered to do that, and I believe you volunteered as well for the spirit leaders. And the ball rolled over to you during one of the games. Surprisingly, ball rolled over to you. I ran after it.
Surprisingly.
I ran after it and grabbed it from you and said thank you. And yeah, you caught my eye. And then from there, at the event, they had given everybody Chipotle to all the volunteers that helped out.
This is where it gets good, by the way.
So they gave Chipotle to all the volunteers that helped out. And then I grabbed Chipotle. I guess you didn't. I didn't know that at the time. And I saw your Instagram or Snapchat story later, like 30 minutes later. You were at Blaze or Chick-fil-A?
Blaze.
And Cold Stone?
No, Blaze and Yogurtland.
Blaze and Yogurtland. And I had responded back to your story, and I was like...
What'd you say?
I said, dang, you eating again?
That is how we started communicating.
Yeah, so I said, dang, you eating again? And you were like, excuse me? I didn't have Chipotle at the event. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, all right.
So what's your number?
Yeah,
you
what's
literally
your number?
were like, okay, so what's your number? Let's text.
Just text me.
After he literally called me out for eating too much, or what he thought. I should have, look, that's how we met. Isn't that crazy? But the ball did not roll over to me by accident. He very much let it go over there. And then he was like, no, that's how we finished talking too, is you thought I was typing something to you. And you were like, did you say something? And I was like, no, because that's when Snapchat would tell you. I was not saying anything.
Snapchat told me you were typing.
Okay. Maya wants to be the star of the show today. Okay, Ben. So that's how we met. We've been together for 7.5 years. Mm-hmm. We've been married for 1.5 years.
Yep.
We're rolling on 2 years.
Yep.
Let's talk about what that was like for us transitioning from college basketball relationship to pro basketball relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough. First, going through the draft process, we were both still at USC. I was training out in Calabasas area over at the Sports Academy, waking up at 6 a.m., driving there, and you were still at school and working with BET at the time, right? Or was that
I think I was,
the radio station?
Yeah, I think it was at Power 106.
The radio station. So then we were both doing that. I go undrafted, then I get signed to an Exhibit 10 contract with the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. So went to training camp with them. They cut me during preseason, and then I was with their G League team, which is in Long Island, New York. So I was there, and you were in California still.
Yeah.
That whole first year. And I remember us FaceTiming every day, and we logged it. We did a screenshot on FaceTime every day. And I logged all of the pictures and the days that we weren't together. and you were back home working. Were we in West Covina at the time? Was that then?
We had our place.
We had our place in West Covina at the time. You were commuting to work from there. That was kind of like the in-between point for when I was back in the off season working out in the Inland Empire area, and then it was the halfway point for you to drive all the way to LA.
Yeah.
And it was tough. You know, we were apart for months at times, and then we'd see each other for 4 or 5 days when you would come and visit, or we would play out here or in California.
Yeah.
See each other for 48 hours, and then again wouldn't see each other for a couple months. And the 3-hour time difference was
Brutal.
a struggle as well. I'd be going to sleep, you'd probably just be getting off work. So it was tough at first, that first year out.
Yeah. I feel like it was so confusing at the time too. We didn't really know what to expect and what was going on. So we were kind of just like winging it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the hardest part was your first year in Minnesota, for me, at least. Did you notice it?
I kind of thought being in Minnesota was a little bit easier. The flight wasn't as bad for you. The time difference was a 1 hour difference, but that made a huge difference to me.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, was that when you started to go to Indiana?
That was,
Or
I was
that
still,
the second year?
no, I was transitioning from BET into the news station in LA.
Right.
So that was like a funny part for me. But that was like when I felt I felt like it was very clear we were like at an age where we had to figure out, it was like the easy thing for me to do would have just been like move here.
Right.
And I felt like at the time I didn't know how we would figure it out.
Right.
But I always felt like you were very positive about us and like, we'll figure it out. Like you were never worried about it, but I had like really bad stress about it.
Yeah, like you said, I was never too worried about it. The thing I think that made it tough was me being on the two-way. For the first 2 years I was out here in Minnesota. So being on a two-way contract, for those that don't know, you're jumping back and forth between the NBA's main team and then their G League team, which is like the development team for younger players or people on assignments just trying to figure out and make their way into the NBA on a consistent role or consistent level. And so the thing that made it tough being in Minnesota was the G League team of Minnesota's team is in Iowa. So it's like a 3-4 hour drive, 40 minute flight. And with me not knowing whether I was going to be up or down, that, would have made it tough on me and Anissa as well.
Yeah.
Just going from place to place. So that was also an obstacle as well.
Yeah. I remember the first time I came to Minnesota for the family weekend, and it was like so exciting and fun and all of that. But then you guys left. Like, you guys had to go at maybe your first preseason game or something. And I remember going to dinner with Jazz and Mariah and a few of the other girls who were here. And I was in the car with Mariah, and she was like, I just met them, did not know them at all. And she said, how are you? Like, how do you feel? And I just started crying in her car, like, just crying. I don't know how to do this. Like, this is not, I didn't think, like they say, you know what you're signing up for. Yeah. But you don't know what you're signing up for.
Not until you're in it.
Like, you have no idea what all of the sacrifices. I think we've, like, kept our eyes on the prize of, like, just getting you to your dream job. That was like all that I feel like has ever really mattered to us, is like you get to do what you've always dreamt of doing.
Right.
But in that process, we've never thought about all that we'd have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it's still a sacrifice, like, holidays and birthdays and just life and like going out and doing whatever. Our lives have drastically changed. But I remember crying and thinking, like, I can't do this. And she told me, like, take a breath, and you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, you'll never plan out your life. You'll never plan out more than a month in advance, because it's going to change. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, this just felt like so crazy. But I feel like while I had all this going on in my head, I don't think you ever felt like you've never felt the sacrifice that I've felt.
Yeah.
But your sacrifice has been different.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely different. So like for me, it's always like being in the gym, putting in the work. Like I've always missed holidays since college, and actually since high school. Really, we had holiday tournaments as well. So like being away from family in that sense, I've always been somewhere for basketball during either Thanksgiving or Christmas, or I may have a day or two where I might be able to get back home and spend Christmas time with family and stuff. So that stuff was, it kind of became kind of normal to me to kind of miss those holidays and stuff. But for you, it was different. And then again, you had to move, halfway across the state to kind of be here and be with me and for us to continue, our journey. And yeah, I just didn't really understand your sacrifices until, they came about.
Later.
Yeah.
I remember when I was at BT and like things were changing for you in a beautiful way, and I was so happy for you. I remember feeling like I was starting to resent you a little bit because I had put a lot on hold.
Yeah.
Like when we graduated, I didn't want to like go get a job because I wanted to see where you were going to land. And then like maybe I could go closer, and then like, well, let me just stay put in LA so then I'm close to family while we figure out what's going on with you.
Yeah. And
I remember after that first year, I had like a lot of resentment. And I think that's what also made me emotional about coming here is like, I will look at you and have like a piece of like frustration of like, I've given up a lot for you to have this, which I think was a turning point, and that made me like go after the position in news. And then I had to like just choose myself. Like you were choosing you, which I wanted you to do and wanted your own things to, work out. But I think I had to do the same.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that from me?
A little bit. I felt like maybe that at that point, that's when maybe we had maybe our most like kind of like little arguments.
Yeah.
Like nothing too serious or too crazy, but like we were just kind of upset about little things here and there. And then again, being apart from each other, texting or when we were to FaceTime, like when you text, you don't get the tone of the person's voice, and you don't get like their feelings, their expressions the most as you would with like being with somebody in person. And I felt like, yeah, it hit us a little bit, but we were able to kind of work through that. But yeah, I would say I felt that the most then.
Yeah. Okay. So we figured that out. Okay. So she's okay. So we get to a good place. I feel like when I figured out how to stand on my own feet, that's when we started to like thrive.
Yeah.
Because I was able to know, like, not that I don't need you, but like financially, like I knew what the like assumptions were already going to be. So I felt like I had to prove it to myself that I could do it by myself. And when I moved to Indiana, it was so hard, but I was so proud of myself, and I felt like I had my thing.
Yeah.
And I realized like I always have to have my thing, just the kind of person I am. I will not. That's not just healthy for me, and then it reflects in our relationship, in our marriage. So let's talk about when I moved here. That was like the best, but worst.
Yeah.
I feel like mental space I was in. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was great to finally spend that time and be together with each other and for you to experience, me playing in the NBA every single day and being here on full time. It was just the circumstances when you first got here, like the things I would say that kind of like fast forward that to happening was, my grandpa being sick at the time. We kind of just took a step back and realized like we're all we have like for each other, and whatever is meant to be, it'll be, and it'll happen the way it happens. And I think when you made that jump from Indiana to come here, and us being together full term, and just experience everything on a daily basis with each other and going through different things, I think it helped us out a lot for sure.
Yeah, it definitely helped us. But that's one thing people don't no, let's talk on that for a second. Like, we had gotten engaged.
Yeah.
But your grandpa George passed 3 weeks before you proposed to me.
Yeah.
Right? And like that was like so emotional for all of us.
Everyone.
Because he had wanted us to get married like from the moment we met. Like, I met him. He was like, that's your wife.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, okay, chill. But like, he's always advocated for us to like get married and have kids. And like, his health declined way faster than any of us expected.
Yeah.
And like, he had already like picked out his outfit for the proposal. Like, he was very much there. We felt him there, but he was planning to be there physically.
Yeah.
So then when that happened, it all just was like a whirlwind. And I was supposed to finish out my next year of my contract. I was not going to move, even though we were engaged, because we were like, we have time. We'll plan the wedding. We were originally going to do like a 2-year engagement, I feel like we had talked about.
Yeah.
And then following that, we were going into an important season for you. And it just like nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
But to other people, it was like there were so many unnecessary comments, whether it's social media, people we know, and they had no idea what was going on. And like, when I moved here, I think that was the worst part, where we'd be so happy at home.
Yeah.
And like, moving in together is supposed to be like such an exciting thing, but I felt like such shame from it. I remember when we went to dinner with Whitney and your mom were in town, and we went and we ran into somebody, and they said, we again just moved in, and they said, oh, you got the ring and ditched your job, huh? Or something, just a joke, I'm sure, of what they would call it. But like, do you remember like how distraught I was at that comment? Even though it was like, so like, no one thought twice about it, but I feel like it like made me like go home.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's every like I always tell you, like, me personally, I don't listen to the outside world and noise, and because people don't know what's going on with other people in general and just everybody else's situation, but I mean, I understand like how you felt because that was one of your reasons on why you didn't want to move here, like kind of right away at first, at least.
Yeah.
But for people to make those comments, it's messed up and rude, honestly. Because again, they don't know the other people's situations and, you know, what we have agreed upon each other and like how we go about things in our relationship. And, you know, we have set goals and rules and standards that we have for each other, and we know what it is. But from people on the outside looking in, they don't understand and know what it is.
Yeah. That was tough. Thinking back on it, actually. I'm like, woo. But then, by like the grace of God, I found a job. And that made it like so much better for me here. Like, I think I started to love Minnesota after I had my own schedule, and like as much as I love supporting you and all of that, everything you do is your accomplishments. Like, and I tell you that too, like, you owe no one anything but yourself. You've gotten yourself here. We've all just been blessed to be here for the ride. But ultimately, like, the things that you do and the things you accomplish are yours. And we each are here for a reason, to fulfill our own. And just, I don't think I felt fulfilled or like that I was contributing anything to the world. Like, when I see you play basketball, it's so much bigger than basketball. Like, I don't think God just put you here to like, yep, go out there. Like, you inspire people to chase after their dreams because you don't fit the box of what an NBA player looks like.
Right.
Physically. Like, they're not expecting you to do what you do or to make it to what you have, where you've made it to. And to be able to like see that journey for you has been beautiful and inspiring, and it like encourages me to go after the things that scare me because I saw you do it. And I am so glad I got to see it from like the beginning. Because I remember everyone saying, too small, like, he's not overseas. Like, it was never, this guy is going to be on an NBA roster. And not just an NBA roster, but be on the same one for 5 years.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. But it made me realize how important it is for me to have my own thing.
Right.
Why are you laughing?
Because you want me to follow up on that?
No, I'm just letting you know, like, and that's where it comes down to, like, I feel like we've cracked the code on how to, like, operate in what a healthy relationship looks like in this world, that it's important for the woman to have something other than just, like, being the wife of an NBA player, the wife of an NFL this, you know?
Right.
And we've seen it all in terms of relationships, of like when they don't have anything for themselves and things go south.
Yeah.
They don't have anything to fall back on.
Yeah.
Nor do I think anyone should be preparing for that. Like, that's not how we operate. But like, I think that requires a level of respect. Like, do you think that changes the dynamic on your end of how you see me, or the pressure you feel as a man? Like, how does that change on your end?
And what you mean? Like,
for our relationship, like, do you think if I like had not gone after my own things and found my own lanes, like, how do you think that would have affected us?
I don't know, but I mean, I've always told you from the jump, like, I'm okay with you not working or doing anything, but you insist and you want to work, and I love that and I respect that from you, because you know you're a hustler. You want to go and get it, whatever that is, whatever that may be. You want to contribute to our household in whichever shape, way, or form that is, and I genuinely do appreciate that. And like I said, I would be okay if you didn't, but I am happy and glad that you do support how you do.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna just stay home. On that note, Maya.
But no, I think you the job that you fell into, I think it's perfect. Like the situation, the people that connected you to your job, which is a story in itself.
Right.
I'm sure you'll get to that as well. But I mean, it's just perfect. They work around your schedule, my schedule. They give you the summers off, so we're able to go back home and be with our families. Working part-time, doing what you love to do, and I think it's just the best situation and opportunity that came about at the right time too.
Right. Timing was everything, for sure.
Yeah.
And that job just doesn't exist, like.
Right.
And you know what that's like. What would you say is the best advice and the worst advice that you've gotten as, like, to be a husband or partner, like, in this lifestyle that we have?
I think the best advice, I don't know if I really got any, like, worst advice. Like, so I'll say maybe two best things I was told is to continue to date. That's a big one for us. I feel like I love planning dates for us, and not always just doing the same thing, going to dinner. You know, we've done the VR date with when your friend was in town. We did that. We've done the escape room with your family. Yeah. And we got some other stuff planned as well coming up, and like massages and stuff. So just stuff out of the normal movies, dinner, and stuff like that. So just keeping it fun and, you know, interesting. And then the other thing is just being patient and continue to love each other through everything. You know, I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what's going on out in the real world and out about through our day, we always come home to each other and just continue to love each other, be patient, and not take what's going on outside at our jobs, and just continue to love each other and don't go to bed angry with each other.
Don't go to bed angry. You'll be falling asleep even if you are mad.
Because I gotta let you sleep on it. You need to think about how you want to articulate your words, and then we come back. But
but we never
still give you a kiss and tell you I love you. Good night.
Exactly. So we might be a little salty, but like it's still like, and then we go about our day.
Yeah.
Those are good ones. Really, no bad advice? Like, you've never gotten advice where you're like, I'm never listening to that?
Not really. No.
How
about you?
I feel like I could think of some advice that you've got from people.
Like what?
is like the guy saying dumb stuff, like, but I feel like you probably don't even, it doesn't even get into your ear.
No.
I would say the best advice that I've ever gotten as a wife, like to be a wife, would be like always date is a good one, but I feel like that was more towards men. Speak to find like solutions and not like to dig for more problems.
Yeah.
And like I think the reminder that we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And like
That's a good
whatever comes up, it's not you versus me. It's like how do we move forward, or what will make us both happy.
Yeah. It's the crazy cycle, like our marriage book.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that was like the best thing for me, because before, like, I don't think I fought fair. Like, I don't think I was like, I knew my words could be hurtful, and you're not confrontational. You're not an arguer. You're not mean. You've never raised your voice at me. You've always been like, babe, let's find a solution. So you make that easy. But I think I had to learn that, because you are like, if I were to yell or get upset, like I think you just stop listening, because it's like, hey, we're not even being rational anymore. So I've had to like really learn how to like reel it in and talk to you just like normal, for it to actually, for you to like digest it, and then for us to be able to work through whatever it is, big or small. But I just think that's how we operate with anything going on now. These days. What do you think is like the best thing that we've incorporated into our marriage that's helped us navigate all of this?
That's a good one. Best thing we've incorporated. I think I would say our readings. I feel like I've learned a lot from our readings. So we have marriage books that we read together. We either buy one or two copies, and we popcorn read with each other. But it's just like marriage books on other people's relationships. We read the Tony Dungy's book.
Such a great book.
Yeah, we read the 5 love languages. That one I feel like helped out a lot, understanding each other's love language, and being able to circle back in when we feel like each other's love tank is empty or not full, or need a little extra push. Currently reading the Crazy Cycle book that was recommended by Pete. And we have a couple others lined up as well. But yeah, I feel like that's been kind of great for us.
Yeah, I think that's been great. And I also think our question books have been great.
Those two.
Especially because we've been together for so long. I mean, like almost 8 years is a long time. Yeah. I look at our niece and think like, she's our relationship in like physical form, like because we've been together since your sister was pregnant with her. Yeah. But I love the question books, because they like, even if it's simple, like what's your favorite color, or like what's your favorite genre of music, like anything. I feel like because we've been together for so long, we've evolved a lot, and we've had to like give each other the room and the space to grow as individuals. And the question books allow us to like check back in with each other and be like, oh, I didn't even know you thought that, or when did you start liking this? Right. And I feel like it's like we're relearning each other over and over again, like all the time. Yeah. The first year of marriage one was so good. Yeah. Even though like, and all the questions are fun.
Right. Some of them, some that you got to sit down and think about it, and you get a little deep. And
yeah, you didn't like some of those questions.
Yeah, they were tough, but again, they weren't for us to argue. It was just for us to kind of play tennis back and forth with each other, like, oh, I didn't know you thought that way, or I didn't know that's what you thought of. I didn't know that was a little ick of yours. Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely those have definitely been fun for us too.
Yeah, I think those have been like, they help us feel, I don't know, like we're just always evolving. Yeah. And I'm grateful that we've given each other the space to evolve and change. We've changed a lot, but we're still the same at heart, but like we're just growing into adults and married people. What would be your piece of advice for a married couple that is like trying to balance, you know, whether it's careers or in the NBA world? What's your advice for like a husband or just a couple in general?
The biggest advice, I think, to communicate. Communication is huge. I think we always circle back with each other. We have our schedules and calendars linked together with each other. I send you my schedule because my schedule changes on a daily basis, game day, practice day, whatever it is. I think I would say communication is huge. If you feel a certain way, like if you feel like things aren't going well for you, or if you're not happy with something, bring it up. We bring it up all the time. We talk about, again, the 5 love languages. If you need an extra push, if you need words of affirmation, acts of services, whatever the love language is, us communicating that to each other and making sure we fulfill those needs. I think that would be a huge thing.
Yeah. And vulnerability, I think, in communicating. Like, you could be like, I'm not happy all day. But, like, if you're not saying what it is you want.
Right. How would you know what to give?
Yeah. And you don't. And that takes a lot of, I think, courage to be open and say, like, I just really need a hug right now.
Right.
And I feel discouraged and I feel this and that. And, like, but, like, there are days that am like that, and like, or you're just like, I just want to spend time, like, can we just get out, like, watch a show together? Right. No phones, no this, like, but yeah, vulnerability on top of that is definitely a good one. Do you think did you feel supported by me throughout the whole, like, throughout this process for you, even though I was finding my own way?
Yeah. No, I've always felt support from you, even since day one. Like, even in college, you were there through the whole pre-draft process. You saw me wake up at 6 a.m., drive to our way to the sports academy out in Calabasas. You would fly out maybe once a month when I was in New York, and then when I was in Minnesota, like, you always pushed forth and made an effort to get to me whenever you could and however you can, and I've always felt your support from day one.
So it doesn't change. Me going after my dreams didn't, like, make you feel like you weren't supported in yours?
Not at all. You've always supported me, for sure.
That's good to hear. I love that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? If a teammate asked you, how do you guys manage your marriage besides communication, like, what makes this different than, like, a normal relationship, I'd say?
I don't know. I just you being my best friend, like, us having a good time with each other. Like, I don't get sick and tired of you. Like, I want to spend as much time as I can with you, and we have a lot of fun together, being with each other, experiencing new things together, traveling. Like, I feel like all that stuff has just made me enjoy life, enjoy our relationship with each other, and just everything we've have and done and everything that we'll continue to do over the years.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, babe, for joining me on my first episode of Supporting His, Fulfilling Yours.
Thank you. I'm happy for you. I'm happy you finally got this thing rolling, and I'm excited to see, you know, everything you talk about and people you bring on here, and I will be supporting you.
Thank you. Love you.
I love you too.
All right, that's it for the first episode of Supporting His, Fulfilling Yours. Thank you for your guys' support. I'd love to hear feedback, and let me know who you want to see on the podcast next. Bye.